The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess has some interesting characters, places, and items, but there's one that captivated me. The GALE Boomerang. Where does it get its powers from, and where does it even come from? How did it end up in Ook's hands? Now this all started on a normal Friday evening during my weekly livestream. We were going through the Forest Temple in Twilight Princess. I beat Ook, and then something strange happened. I am the Fairy of Winds who resides in this boomerang. Where's paper? Where's Kotlol? Kotlol, help! I don't have any paper. I am the Fairy of Winds who resides in this boomerang. Can you send me that on Skype? Like, look up GALE Boomerang because it said Fairy of Winds who resides in this boomerang. Theory video. It sounds interesting. Might be a fun lead. It was quite a long time ago since I played Twilight Princess, and I totally forgot about this. But as soon as I saw it, I had a million questions. The GALE Boomerang is inhabited by the Fairy of Winds, and after it comes into Link's possession, the Fairy of Winds activates its true power and is never heard from again. It says, "I'm the Fairy of Winds who resides in this boomerang. You have freed me from evil, and I now have my true power back. Please, take it with you. Use it to aid your quest, and may both my power and my blessing go with you." The GALE Boomerang is able to generate a small whirlwind around itself when thrown, so it's certainly magical. However, who is the Fairy of Winds? We have never heard of her, and after this, never seen her again. Where did this boomerang even come from? Well, first up, who could this Fairy of Winds be related to? Well, there are a couple of options here. If we take a look at the cutscene that plays when you get the item, you can see that all the letters have a weird glow. Just like the ones from the Spirits of Light when you talk to them. Besides that, we can see that the weapon emits a similar type of light. So could there be a connection between the two? Well, the light spirits protect the land and maintain peace, so maybe the boomerang serves the same purpose. Besides that, it would also explain why the dark twilight powers of the insect could trap and block the Fairy of Wind. It could be that it was a similar scenario to the light spirits, but on a smaller scale. However, there are a lot of things possible with this. It could even be that it was originally created by the light spirits together with the fairy, but take that with a grain of salt. Now, one that a lot of people will call out, but I'm not really sure of, is the Wind Tribe from the Minish Cap. This tribe was seen quite some time before the events of Twilight Princess. These people are the absolute masters of wind. They have made Mazal in the Ocarina of Wind, so could they have created the GALE Boomerang at some point as well? Well, most likely not. While their name is fitting, they seem to use technology a lot, and not fairies and magic. Just look at Mazal. It's just a huge machine. Now I can already hear the comments.
But what about the fairies? When you get the item, it even says that it's inhabited by the Fairy of Wind.
Well, for this we will have to dig a little deeper, since there are actually a lot of fairies. We have multiple options here. For our first one, we will look at another Zelda game, Oracle of Seasons. Here we see the Season Spirits, which are 4 fairy-like beings acting as the source of seasons, and perhaps even the Oracle Din's power. After Link travels to the Temple of Seasons, the spirits grant him the Rod of Seasons, which can be used to change the current season to any other he has power over. That was a lot of season. Each newly met spirit offers Link power over their season, explain what uses their respective season has, and then besieges him to rescue Din. So these are actual fairy gods that control the seasons, and even created an item related to it. But that's not all. In Phantom Hourglass, we also see the spirits of time and courage, power, and wisdom. They are fairies that serve as protectors of the Ocean King. And the list goes on like this. There are actually quite a lot of powerful fairies with very specific abilities and roles. This also goes for the Fairy of Winds inside the GALE Boomerang. However, this fairy lives inside its artifact instead of only lending power to it from the outside. The artifact is similar to the Rod of Seasons. So why did they create it then? Maybe this can help us answer the question of the Gale Boomerang's origin. Years prior to the events of Oracle of Seasons, the Rod of Seasons was created as a safeguard for the Oracle of Seasons should anything befall them. One could ask the spirits for this rod to maintain a certain degree of power over the seasons in absence of a proper oracle. So essentially, this was a safety net for if things went wrong, and the fairies themselves protect and keep the seasons in check. So could this be the case with the boomerang as well as the being inside of it? Well, yes, and it's actually very fitting. Think about it for a second. It's found in the Forest Temple in Faron Woods, which is an extremely fitting setting. Some of the powerful fairies seen in other games were made by other deities to fulfill a certain role. And I think this was also the case with this artifact. In the forest and in nature overall, wind is an extremely important thing. For example, they help spreading seeds from different plants so that they can grow elsewhere and survive. Or the birds that can fly a lot easier because of it. They can also do it without wind, but it does help them a lot. And there are way more examples of this. It's just extremely important, especially for the trees and other plants. So could it be that this fairy and the boomerang it's in were made to keep the wind under control so the forest could flourish? Well, it would be a logical explanation, since it would also explain who created it. Faron, the light spirit of that region. Like I said before, the text and the glow around the boomerang is very similar, and his job is protecting that region. And guess what? The entire area is filled with forests, springs, and fields, so it would be very fitting. It would help him maintain the peace and balance. It would also explain why it's found in the Forest Temple. There's a lot possible here, but the most likely option is that it was made by Faron in order to keep it all under control, just like the seasoned spirits. Now where did Ook get it from? It's quite an important and powerful artifact. Well, there are two options here. First one is that it was placed somewhere in the Forest Temple and Ook stole it after he got corrupted. However, what role does it serve that way? This would make the Fairy of Wind useless. But the second option is a way more interesting one. Could it be connected with Ook somehow? Why would a Twilight parasite control a monkey? What's the use of it? It must have served a specific role, something that would help Zand. Well, it could be that Ook, as leader of the monkeys of Faron Woods, is some sort of guardian of the forest and uses the boomerang as his weapon. This would explain how he got his hands on it and why he's so good with it. Some of his throws seem pretty hard to do. It would also explain why he helps you defeat the boss of the temple. He's a protector after all. If this is the case, then he most likely got the artifact and role from Faron, which would be fitting, since he is seemingly meant to look like a monkey, most likely a lemur. Now, Ook as a guardian has never been confirmed, but there are some things that make sense in that setting, so it's certainly a possibility. So as you can see, there's more to this simple item than you might think. It's a powerful artifact, which probably means a lot to the forest. Hey there, be sure to check out my other social media like my Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Discord server. We do all kinds of fun stuff there like updates, live streams, and voice chats. So check it out. Thanks for watching everybody, and I just want to say that I really hope you win the lottery and become a millionaire. That would be great. I hope you get it.